So now we'd like to take a few minutes to share, you've heard the student perspective, we'd like to share the alumni perspective. So I'll call our alumni up one at a time here, and then we'll begin the conversation. So first I'd like to introduce Michael Cabino. Michael is president of Beach Hospitality Group, and he's a College of Health Science alum, and he served as a judge and as a mentor in the DifferenceMaker program. Come on up, Michael. Next is Marianne Downing. Marianne is an attorney, and she's a graduate of the Francis College of Engineering, and has served as a DifferenceMaker judge in the prototyping competition. Marianne, welcome. Glenn Morgan. Glenn Morgan is a partner in Skyworld Interactive, and he's a graduate of the College of Fine Arts, Humanities, and Social Science. Glenn has served as a judge, and he's also a founding sponsor of the Creative Venture Competition in the College of Fine Arts, Humanities, and Social Science. Thank you. John Pulicino is Chairman and Chief Operating Officer of Group 3 International. He's a graduate of the Manning School of Business and a 2014 honorary degree recipient. And John and his wife are sponsoring the Manning School of Business Pulicino Tong Building. And John has served as a judge on the Idea Challenge since its inception 3 years ago. Thank you, John. And finally, Frank Spinola. Frank is former president and CEO of Indispec Chemical Corporation. He's a graduate of the Francis College of Engineering, and he also met his sweetheart here, Mary Jo, a number of years ago, who was an education lady. Okay, yeah, so if you share the mics, I think you all have two here. Maybe one, okay. That's right. So I do have a couple of questions. And basically what I've done is I've asked our panelists to sort of reflect a bit on some of the work that they've done here with our students in the past. So I kind of introduced the role that you had in relationship to DifferenceMaker. So I'm wondering if maybe you could talk a little bit about what you've learned about UMass Lowell and our students through your participation in this program. And this time, why don't we start with Frank?
I think so. Well, I've always believed, I've always believed that if you scratch the surface of most people, you'll find an entrepreneur just below the skin of the surface. Most people love to be involved in growing something and developing something. And if you give them an opportunity and a chance to do that, you're going to find they'll come to fruition and have huge payoffs. So that's what I believe.
Excellent. And John, your thoughts?
For me, one is the maturity of the students that I've encountered here, how far ahead they are versus when I was in school, for sure. And secondly, what I've enjoyed to see is the collaboration of the students, where they have a sense of the skill sets they got to bring together for not only identifying the problem, finding the solution, and how they work productively together. It's very rewarding to see that in the community environment, how they come up with a solution.
Excellent. Glenn, would you care to?
I think we saw it today in some of the examples that the students spoke of, and I was surprised how much the students care about the social impact, and so they care as much about doing good as they do doing well, and that's very powerful to see that sort of spirit and that sort of sense of caring throughout the university.
I would echo John's comments about the caliber of the students. As Steve mentioned, I'm an attorney, and actually I'm a patent attorney. And I've been involved hearing presentations through the whole .com boom. I've been doing it for 17 years. And I've seen people who've gotten a lot more money than these students and had a lot more experience and a lot more time not be as on the ball, thinking about all the ramifications, trying to, basically have a 3-page business plan and say, oh, we need to file a patent on this. And they have not thought through all of the things that I've seen these students consider. So I'm not only impressed with the students, but with the guidance that they got to get them to the point where I was able to sit there as a judge and ask them questions about what they thought, have they thought about protection, how have they thought about competitors. They were able to answer everything. I mean, they, compared to what I would see years ago, to me, they're ready for the world of business already, and on a par with any client I've ever met.
Excellent. And Michael? Give a,
I'll go 50. Yeah, so I was here in the spring judging, and so I was in a room with a couple other judges, and like 4 teams come in. There was 20, 25 teams in there, and to see all these teams come in with conviction, and passion, and intelligence, definitely a lot different than how I felt about myself when I was in school here. And it was really great to see, so it really motivated me to come back and actually be a mentor in the fall.
So we'll start with you this time, Michael, since you're holding the mic. Was there a particular team that caught your attention?
Yeah, so I was actually the bench with Marcella. I just thought that was very innovative, and again, their presentation was amazing. I thought their idea was great. I thought they were really headed for success with making a social impact, and very impressive.
And so Masala Venture is a student team that's developing basically 3D printed dentures. So taking a new approach to the development of dentures so they can take the mold and be printed on the spot. And they're still with us, they're still working on that, they're using their funding. I see Professor Johnson nodding his head, clearly he's familiar with that team, so. Thank you. Marianne, was there a team that caught your attention at the prototype?
Probably the winning team, the hydraulic walker. I was very impressed that it was 2 non-engineering students that developed it and got it working, and it struck me they had a working demo, they were doing all kinds of things. It really did work. I've talked to friends I have friends who are nurses there. Where is this product? We want it now. So it really, I could see why it was the winning project, and I hope, and they had mentioned that they had filed a patent application on it. Maybe they're waiting for that. Even if they can't market it, they can license it. I hope to see good things from it.
Excellent, excellent. That team was actually the campus-wide DifferenceMaker winner last year as well, so thank you. Len, the team that caught your attention.
For the Creative Venture competition and the DifferenceMaker competition, I've seen a number of different teams, but I think the team that captured my attention most was it SOS?
Support our students, yes.
SOS was a team set up so that if you had excess money or unused money on your meal card, you could share it with a student that wasn't able to afford a meal. And when my first year at Lowell, I was excitingly socially active, and I didn't make it too far. And then I went away for a year, and I came back. And when I came back, my parents were like, you're a dumbass. We're not going to assign your student loans. So I had to pay for everything myself, and I was poor, really poor. I lived up on Fletcher Street across from the Acre. I worked at the gas company. While I was there, I had my gas shut off because I couldn't afford the gas. We had our phone shut off. And on a number of days, like I ate Wheaties, maybe 3 or 4 days in a row, 3 times a day, because I couldn't afford food. And to see students care enough for other students to say, hey, I have some extra food here, I don't know what these kids have. It impacts the way you learn. It impacts the way you think about others, and it impacts the way you think about yourself. So SOS is something that it was near and dear to me.
So an update on that team, the founders graduated, however they recruited 2 younger classmates who I believe are sophomores who are actually carrying that team on. So one of the goals of DifferenceMaker is to make sure that we can build sustainable projects that will be sustained beyond 1 semester. And so that's a good example of one that's still moving forward. And John, is there a particular team that...
He stole the one. I was on the judging panel that I think we selected the first place that's about a year. And the thing that hit me was here were these students, quite honestly, identifying a problem I didn't know existed. In fact, there were students around campus that were hungry and didn't have the funds to have a meal that day. And to have these students reach out and understand that problem, and the The biggest problem, as I understood it, with the students most afflicted by this were not willing to admit the issue, okay? And how this group was able to reach out to them, help them with their problem. And that really, it just touched me, and I just was, I couldn't believe that this existed to begin with, and now having a group like this really participate in a way so constructive to help the students.
Excellent, thank you. Frank, I'm going to toss in a new question here, so we'll mix it up a little bit. How do you think, and I'll ask each of this, that a student's participation in these types of activities, in the pitch contest and working with other students, working with the mentors, how do you think that might affect them beyond their experience here at UMass Lowell?
Well, I go back to watching a movie called Pay It Forward, whatever. And I think that it's so vitally important in today's world that if you can participate in any kind of a program where you are sharing your knowledge, your technology, and helping other people, that at some point it's got to have phenomenal ramifications in the future. You know, we have been watching non-spec since it started, just putting strings together to try to help children. And today, with all the senseless maiming of children all over the world, I think that a program like that is going to have terrific impact in the future as they grow and continue to modernize their technology.
Thank you, Frank. John, your thoughts?
Can you do that one more time?
Sure. What are your thoughts on how a student's participation in these DifferenceMaker activities might have an impact on them beyond college?
Well, for starters, I mean, they have such maturity going into it that they really are ready for the task after they graduate. And I think it just helps that last bit of maturity by putting them in a setting which is real life, okay, in terms of the kind of problems they're going to encounter in the business world, coming forth with solutions, working a collaborative basis, and coming up with solutions. I mean, in business, that's what you want. You have problems, they represent opportunities, and you look for solutions. And I think these students demonstrate that, and it really makes them really ready to have the work life ahead.
Excellent, thank you. Glenn, your thoughts on that?
When you're addressing a challenge, it's often easy to say, I can figure this out, I can do this myself, and to go in your corner, in your cube, or in your room, and try to start to bang it out. And what the DifferenceMaker program does is it teaches students that it's okay to ask for help. In fact, that it's expected, and that it's expected that you're going to get feedback, and that you're going to get pushback. And what's empowering for the students is the students readily accept the feedback. And I think looking out at the students, you should feel really good about yourself. Because we'll push back and say, well, where the hell's your cash flow? Or what's your target market? Or, you know, who are your competitors? And you listen, and you pay attention. And you listen and pay attention for a couple of reasons. One, because you want to learn. And two, because you have this growing confidence that I can absorb new information. And one of the biggest impacts of the DifferenceMaker program is a sense of confidence that a student's going to walk out with, holding that confidence.
Great, thank you. Mary Ann?
I think there's a lot in just the process of preparing for this and realizing you're going to be forth with this panel of alumni and industry people that never met you before. It's very different from my day at the university where you had your class and you gave your project, and it was in front of your peers and your professor, who were generally a lot more forgiving than I think this kind of panel. Not that we're harsh, but we're asking the kind of questions you're really going to get. And I think the idea of standing up there and thinking about it and being able to think on your feet and argue, it would stand you good stead in law school, it would stand you good stead in business school, going before your town meeting, making an argument about why something should or shouldn't happen. The skills are built in so many other ways. I know there's the great ways for society, but the lawyer in me is just thinking, these people, they're up there making an argument and answering questions on their feet. They could have a future in that direction too.
Great, good advice. And Michael?
Yeah, to echo what everyone has said, but what really stuck out to me was the collaboration. You know, you see these groups come together from different schools, right? Like College of Health and College of Business, and and they're working together to solve problems, and it's not like, well, we're both like-minded, like, oh, I know what my strengths are, and what my weaknesses are, so they seem to like surround themselves with other people to build a stronger group. I think it took me until I was 40 to know what I didn't know and know what I needed to know. So I think it's really amazing as I mentor a group now, I mentor Zoom, and to watch them listen to like, wow, that's something we need to know. Like, wow, who do we surround ourselves with that's going to help us learn that? So I think that's just a great thing that's coming out of this, and that, again, prepares you to go out, and that's business. Who do I surround myself with that's going to give me that knowledge, to get this done, to solve this problem, to be better, informed.
And do you want to just let folks know what Zoom is doing?
Zoom's doing a lot. So my Zoom group is, so they have, they're developing an app for restaurants. I'm in the restaurant business, so it's the perfect match. And so they have multiple applications in different directions they can go in, but it's basically an ordering system, so you can place to-go orders, you can use it to replace ordering through a server, you can order ahead, like, online takeout and things of that nature, but it's also a great application for the restaurateur to use for inventory control and back office management and POS solutions. So there's sort of a multi-platform of things that can really help, and there's a bunch of applications, and I think we're learning together why I do this. It's really helping open my eyes to how I look at my own business and all the different ways that can make me better as well.
That's great. And thank you for your mentoring support. All right, we'll mix this up a little bit. Glenn, been going up and down here. Do you have words of advice for other alumni who are wondering how they might get involved with DifferenceMaker?
The concept of being a mentor is a great first step, and getting engaged with the students. I had a student meeting yesterday, Buddies Without Borders, and it's save for kind of the pain and kind of in the rear of kind of driving through the mayhem of traffic of Lowell. After that, it's wonderful. And it really is a pleasure. And it hit the nail on the head. I get back in the car and I drive home. I just went to school, and the students end up teaching you as much as you give back. And maybe we know more about some specifics or some brass tacks, or we've had bloody noses, but they help you challenge core assumptions. They help you challenge what's good. How do you define success? So maybe I say, oh, shareholder value, and they say, no, success is making my neighbor feel better. That's a pretty powerful lesson for someone as old as me.
John, would you have advice?
Well, it's, for me, it's always a breath of fresh air to the students. Because you get stuck in your own world, and particularly as you get older, you start to see things a little differently than what's really going on around you. So being able to engage in students in any way, whether it's being a mentor, being a judge in a panel, there's a variety of things that every university can provide. And for those who haven't chosen to engage, I just can't tell you how enjoyable it is. Because you come back re-energized, being really, your life is lifted up that the world does have a future with a lot of right people, okay, that are going to do good in this world. And you really miss that if you get stuck in your own closet.
Any other additions to those comments?
I would just add, I graduated in '87 and then in '90 for my master's, and I went off in engineering for a while and then in law, and I didn't really think that much about Lowell. And when I would be at my legal functions, if you say, where'd you go? I went to Lowell, but it's good for engineering, Now I am so proud of this university, and I realize I should have been this proud, but coming back and seeing what it's become, and I can't wait to tell friends with high schoolers, no, you have to apply to UMass Lowell, you have to see what's here. And I keep thinking, if I would tell another alumni, especially ones from my generation, you have to see what they've done here. It's not what it was. Not that it was bad, but this is, maybe it was Marty Meehan and all the efforts of all the faculty. This is an incredible place. You all should be very proud.
Thank you. Any other comments or advice? I'm wondering, are there any questions for the panelists? Oh, we're going to get a microphone to you.
Hi, Glenn. I recently talked to Glenn and interviewed him for an article on DifferenceMaker, and I love these answers, so I'd like to ask you one of my questions.
Well, I was pretty socially active in the 70s, so I may not remember what I told you.
Yes, you mentioned that in your article, and I ignored it. How do the students inspire you? You're a successful businessman, so how do they inspire you? And I remember your answer, so.
Well, I don't remember what I said. I had a really good time in the 70s, so I'll just say that. When you come here and you end up speaking with students, whether it's as a judge or as a mentor, you end up seeing someone's goal and someone's dream. And when you get older, the biggest challenge in life is to make sure you don't lose your goal or your dream. Because if you have a dream or you have a goal, you feel young. You want to rush forward. You want to charge the gates. And when I hang out with old guys like me, sometimes they don't have goals. Their goal is to watch the Pats game. And when yeah, it's a good goal, but it gets me to something. And when you're speaking with students, and you're hearing their passion, or they're asking, do you think I can do this? I do. But it's hard. But I'm going to help. It's really powerful. And it helps keep that flame, and keep that goal and that dream inside you going. And that sustains you. And that's far more powerful than anything we can give.
Great, thank you. Another question? Yes, Ed. I think we have a mic for you as well.
As an educator at a local high school, I send, or I try to send, a lot of students to UMass Lowell. Having been an alumni, I think it's a great education and a wonderful place to be. What role does the DifferenceMaker play in recruiting? How can we use this?
Do you all have thoughts on that?
Well, it certainly brings, I would think, real-world issues and problems to the student that demonstrate their maturity and understanding how to attack these issues. In a very warm environment with the faculty, mentors, and whatnot, to help you along in that process. So it's just one more step getting to where you want to be.
When I went to school here, my tuition, I was an out-of-state student. My tuition was $300 a year, and they gave me a job in the cafeteria to pay for my room and board. Otherwise, I could never afford to go to college. I think one of the things, and I've tried to express this a number of times, with the increase in the costs of providing an education such as you see around you here, it's going to become more and more of a burden to try to pay and try to be able to afford colleges that provide these kind of opportunities. And a program like DifferenceMakers, what it does is also give an opportunity for somebody to get involved in an entrepreneurial type of program, learn something about that, to the point where they can now, in the future, provide help to other students going forward, whether through scholarship programs or other programs where they can now afford it because they've been able to muster a few bucks from their technology.
Very good, thank you. I think we've had, the panelists have had shared some great insights, I think, into not only why they're involved, but why you all might consider getting involved. And so I would just like to take a minute to thank you all very much, both for your service back to the university and for your participation on the panel.